questions, and would yield to the subcommittee chairman, Mr. Gowdy, for the purpose of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. West, on behalf of all of us, I want to thank you for your service to our country, both on this soil and on foreign soil. We are indebted to you. It strikes me, Mr. West, that you brought this to the attention of every single person that you could reasonably have known to bring it to, and nobody did anything. You had to go get a private lawyer to do what either the State of New Jersey, CMS, or some social worker should have done. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes. The social worker asked Maxim if they could back up the billing with paperwork. They said yes. So she had no power to audit, or so I took it to the state, and the state sat in my living room in August 2003. I told them I was not getting the hours of nursing they're telling me I'm getting. They did nothing. The person running the program retired. The other person sitting at my dining room table got promoted, and everybody just goes on. If people aren't held accountable, both Maxim and state and federal workers, there's nowhere for me to go.
And that's exactly what I want to ask Ms. West. Do you have any criminal practice at all to go along with your civil practice? Have you ever done criminal defense work? For those of us who were not smart enough to do civil work and had to do criminal work, it's always struck me that nothing gets people's attention quite like the fear of going to prison. And poor folk who steal do go to prison. Rich folk who steal have the corporation pay a fine, and then they continue to participate in the Medicaid program. How in the world does that happen?
Microphone.
It's much more difficult to prove a criminal case. The standard is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. It takes a lot of resources to investigate these cases.
Well, let me stop you right there. You've got a Vietnam War veteran witness who says that this work was not done on me, and you have a document that says that they were billed for it. I think even I could win that case. I mean, I get that there's a different standard to prove, but there's a different standard of proof in all criminal cases.
Someone in the government is making the decision of whether to prosecute.
Do you know who that is? Do you know who it is?
The U.S. Attorney's Office.
In New Jersey?
Yes.
So they want their civil division to reach an agreement, pay a fine, the shareholders pay, none of the corporate executives go to jail, and then they continue as part of the settlement to be able to participate in the Medicaid program. That is as outrageous as anything I have heard in the 11 months I've been here, and I have heard some outrageous things. Let me ask you that. There have been civilizations that have been formed in less than 7 years. What took 7 years for this case to be resolved?
The investigation started locally, and then it expanded to the state of New Jersey, then it expanded to the states beyond New Jersey, eventually expanding nationwide. And during that time, there were numerous audits going on of the documents. There was an independent audit company that was hired to determine what was what type of document qualified as a proper claim and what was an improper claim. Maxim's attorneys were involved every step of the way. They were allowed to have input into this process. And then at the end, because fraud is difficult to quantify, the settlement had to be reached, and it's often likened to making sausage because there are so many elements that have to be brought together that so many people have to agree on. And that's what also took a long part of the time, is the agreement on the various aspects of the settlement. And there was a criminal component to it as well. So.
And the criminal component went away as part of the civil settlement?
Well,
or did anyone go to jail as a result of this?
My understanding is that there were 9 indictments, 8 of which were of Maxim employees, not executives, but managers.
And did they go to jail?
I don't know.
My time has expired, Mr. Chairman.